The HOA president screamed, "Arrest him!" as I launched my boat on my own damn lake. There I am, waist deep in icy water at 6 a.m., when Margaret Thornfield comes storming down my dock like she owns the place, her perfectly manicured finger an inch from my face, shrieking "Trespasser," while some poor deputy fumbles with his cuffs. "Ma'am, this is my property," I say, water dripping from my waders. "Not anymore," she hollers, spit flying. "I'm having you arrested for illegal boat launching." The cuffs snap shut. My old aluminum boat bobs beside us. And now there's a crowd of neighbors on their decks, phones out, coffee mugs in hand, watching Margaret's perfume clouds swirl in the morning mist. Here's the kicker. 10 minutes later, I owned her precious Marina. What would you do if they handcuffed you on your own dock? Drop your location and your worst HOA horror story below. Let me back up and tell you how this nightmare started. Because honestly, even now, some days I still can't believe any of it happened. My name's Jake Morrison. 3 years ago, I lost my wife Sarah to cancer. We bought this lakeside place 15 years back, the dream, you know? 12 acres of pines, a private lake, total water rights, a kind of peace you can't buy at any price. Sarah and I started every single morning on that dock, coffee. Mist rising, loons calling, her lavender shampoo blending with the pine. That dock became my lifeline after she passed. My only reason to get out of bed was fishing at sunrise with Rex, my German shepherd, that little boat the only thing between me and drowning in my own grief. Then, 6 months ago, Margaret Maggie Thornfield took over as HOA president. Think, the human equivalent of stepping on a Lego barefoot. 55, all sharp edges, drives a white BMW like it's a tank, dressed for a corporate merger at the grocery store. She'd done a stint on city council, booted out for being, well, insufferable. In her first week, HOA violation notices tripled. Christmas lights up on January 2nd, $200. Dog barks in daylight, $150. Don't even mention garden no mesh, find a guy for having one facing the wrong way. But I minded my business, kept my property spotless, paid my dues. Figured she'd tire herself out harassing easier targets. Big mistake. Her declaration of war landed via certified mail, on HOA letterhead, her signature the size of a billboard, and a $500 fine for unauthorized watercraft storage. Apparently, my old boat was now visual pollution, violating the community aesthetic. Worse, the dock I'd built 15 years ago was now, in her eyes, common HOA property. I reread that letter 3 times, coffee going cold, Rex snoring at my feet. The attached justification was written on pink perfumed stationery. Mr. Morrison's facility represents a significant aesthetic liability requiring immediate remediation. For context, we're talking about a 12-foot fishing boat that's older than most of the neighborhood's kids. Everyone knew about my dock. Half the neighbors had used my ramp when theirs were broken. Old Mrs. Victoria next door waves at me every morning. But Queen Maggie had found her public enemy one, and nothing burns worse than hypocrisy. She bulldozed the original cottage for a glass and concrete palace with an imported beach violating more lakefront rules in one build than I'd managed in 15 years. But I was the crisis? Yeah, that happened. I called her that evening. "Mrs. Thornfield, it's Jake Morrison. There's a mistake about my dock." "No mistake whatsoever." She cuts me off, voice cold as a tomb. "The board determined your dock undermines property values. You have 30 days to remove it or face escalating penalties." "Ma'am, I own the water rights. My deed says so. The HOA supersedes individual claims when community welfare is threatened. Don't contact me again." And she hangs up. I sat there, phone in hand, feeling that hollow ache in my gut. Margaret Thornfield had just declared war on the last thing in my life that made any sense. She didn't waste time. 3 days later, I get a notice taped to my door, not mailed, hand delivered. Emergency HOA board meeting mandatory for all waterfront owners. Even her stationery stunk of cheap perfume and aggression. Thursday night, I walk into the community center. I expected a dozen people, maybe. There were 40. Fluorescent lights buzzing, burnt coffee, the air thick with suspicion. Maggie sat behind a folding table like a judge business suit, pearl necklace, her secret weapon nephew Curtis, the lawyer, at her side. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to address a serious threat. She gestures at me like I'm a felon. Curtis unrolls a survey map different from mine, claiming my dock extends 15 feet onto HOA common area. The crowd shifts, metal chairs scraping linoleum. I stand up, pull out my original deed and 2009 survey. Thank you, Sarah, for that fireproof safe. Ma'am, my survey says my water rights extend 200 feet from my shoreline, well past my dock. My deed's explicit water, mineral rights, access, forever. Curtis leans in, goes pale. Maggie stammers. Surveys can be outdated. Boundaries evolve. But her voice is shaky now. Then Mrs. Victoria stands up, 78 and sharp as ever. Jake's been using that dock since before the HOA. We borrowed his ramp for our grandson. A ripple of nods, and Tom from across the lake shouts. He let us use his ramp when the county launch was closed. Maggie snaps. Personal favors don't establish legal precedent. And then launches into insurance liability. Me, dangerous, dock threatens everyone. I stay calm. 15 years. Never an incident. Previous boards were negligent. This board takes things seriously. She gives me 30 days to remove my dock or face legal action and penalties. The meeting ends in awkward silence. People avoid my eye, not wanting to get caught in the crossfire. Monday, I wake to a security guard at my property line. Derek, Maggie's unemployed son-in-law, in a crisp new uniform, clipboard in hand, truck idling in my driveway. Sir, I'm conducting lakefront patrol for the HOA. Your dock is a violation area. Derek, didn't you flunk out of business school? He flushes, mumbling, I'm certified. He posts bright yellow, no trespassing signs on my land. Every morning, Derek sits in his truck, blocking my path to the lake, scribbling notes, looking miserable. But I don't play victim. While Derek plays mall cop, I spend afternoons at the county recorder's office, digging through HOA files. That's when Dolores, the county clerk, slides me a folder. Maggie's election was never valid. No certified mail, no proper notice. Half the neighborhood never got ballots. Her authority, built on sand. Meanwhile, Derek's enforcement gets bolder, following me around, measuring my dock posts, writing up violations. But Maggie's got a bigger plan. She hosts coffee hours, spreads rumors that my mental state is shaky after Sarah's death, stirs up newer residents, sends me a certified letter threatening escalating enforcement. That night, surrounded by documents, I realize Esh so obsessed with crushing me, she's left herself wide open. Here's where things twist. One morning, I spot Maggie marching to the marina with Curtis, Derek, and 2 strangers. Later, Tommy, the marina dockhand, Derek's cousin, tells me Maggie just offered the owner $50,000 for exclusive boat launch rights, planning to make it HO only. If she controlled the marina, my dock was dead in the water. But Tommy heard her say she'd use emergency funds, which is flat out illegal without a homeowner vote. I visit Mrs. Victoria for history. She digs out old photos showing that, back in '95, lake access was guaranteed to all property owners. She hands me a newspaper clipping. Headline, New Lake Community Guarantees Water Access for All Residents. Would you testify? Ask. Gladly, she grins. Back at the county office, Dolores finds the 1994 Lake Covenant Lake access for all original owners, in perpetuity, including docks and launches. But the bombshell? The marina's lease expired 2 years ago, never renewed. The property reverted to the county unpaid taxes, up for auction this Friday. $12,000 in back taxes, and it could be mine. I get a certified check, call Helen, a lawyer who hates HOA bullies. You buy that marina, you control lake access, and I'll take care of Maggie's violations. Word gets out. Neighbors form a founders alliance. 8 households bring deeds and memories, determined to fight. Friday comes. At the courthouse, I bid, nobody else does. 5 minutes later, I own the marina. As I'm signing paperwork, Helen calls, laughing. Maggie just tried to hire her to block the sale. not realizing Helen already represents me. That afternoon, Derek shows up, clipboard in hand, declaring, HOA will challenge this illegal transfer. Bill, the Marina operator, just shakes his head. Son, this isn't HOA property. Maggie storms down the dock, Curtis trailing, demanding to overturn the sale. I smile. Good luck, County's happy to see it back on the tax rolls. Her face turns purple. Saturday, she comes alone, drops the queen routine, wants to compromise. I play along. Turns out, she's secretly recording, hoping to edit it into a fake confession. But Curtis, finally fed up, tips off Helen about the trick. At the next board meeting, Maggie plays her doctored tape misses. Victoria stands up. That's not Jake. I taught English 35 years. I know a splice when I hear one. The board gets nervous. Maggie doubles down with fake social media posts about my mental state, but Tom tracks the accounts everyone created from her house. Derek shows up with fake county inspection forms, not even a real inspector, just a pawn in his mother-in-law's games. I'm done playing defense. Maggie calls an emergency community meeting, tries to paint me as a threat to property values, brandishing her edited tape. I walk up front, drop the original Lake Covenant, her invalid election papers, proof she promised $50,000 in emergency funds without a vote, andising on the cake the unedited recording of our compromise meeting. Commissioner Patricia Wells enters with a county deputy. Miss Thornfield, you're being served with a cease and desist for harassment and misuse of association funds. Curtis bails. The room turns. Maggie melts down, screams about conspiracies. By Monday, she resigns by bitter email. Derek flees town. Curtis returns to contract law, and the Thornfield dynasty is over. Owning the Marina changes everything. Bill becomes my partner, profit sharing, upgrades, a place that finally treats staff right. Tommy grins like a kid with a new bike. Within weeks, free Marina access is restored, property values jump, and families start moving here for the Community Marina program. But my proudest legacy? The Sarah Morrison Memorial Fishing Program. 25 kids every Saturday, learning to fish, respect nature, and share a dock with Rex, who soaks up the pets and the love. Mrs. Victoria tells old lake stories. The conservation folks teach wildlife protection. Neighbors who once hid behind curtains now barbecue together, laugh on the dock, watch their kids cast lines into the sunrise. Helen says I've inspired dozens to stand up to HOA bullies. The new board actually listens, violation notices drop, and just maybe finally a community. Evenings now, I take Rex out for that quiet sunrise, sometimes talk to Sarah about it all. The lake reflects a sky and a town that chose cooperation over conflict, and every now and then, I still get goosebumps watching a kid haul in their first bluegill. Now it's your turn. Drop your worst HOA nightmare in the comments. Let's show the world there's more of us out here, fighting the good fight for what's right. Justice tastes better when it's shared.